Hello, this is a quick demonstration of Optimum's grant management catalyst. Each solution starts out with the grant tracking sheet, which is the sort of intake sheet for new grants. This is for tracking grant funding for multiple different grants and multiple different projects. So each of these comes in through a form, which is customizable. Each form creates a new line on the grant tracking sheet, and this can be configured however you need it to be in order to fill out the needed information for a given grant. Then once they have the grant in the system, we can edit this information and go through an approval process for that grant to say that, yes, we have granted the amount requested, we've granted whatever the amount is awarded, and fill this information. And then, once it is approved, we can provision the underlying blueprint, which is a standard blueprint for each grant, so we can track the progress of the grant. The automations primarily are for the approval itself. So when we have a new grant request come in, we have an approval workflow for the approver noted in the system here, right? So once that's approved, the underlying grant tracking is created. We can click on this link here, and this is going to take us to the dashboard for the grant level. So this is how we track all the information related to the individual grant. Once this pops open, we'll see all these pieces of data, KPIs, reports, etc., on our underlying grant progress, right? So we have some schedule progress here based on the underlying schedule, phase progress here, which we can see just our overall phases and the amount complete they are, as well as our Gantt chart over to the right. We also have some financial data coming from our underlying budget and expenditure logs, which is, of course, critical for tracking grant spending. And, of course, this is split by cost type. And we have our past due tasks from the schedule, as well as a look ahead for the next 6 months here. First, we're going to hop into the schedule directly from this link, right? So as we drill down, we can just pop directly to the relevant objects from the dashboard. And here we're looking at a pretty standard project schedule, right? So as we manage all the tasks that need to be performed as part of the grant project, they're added in here. We move through our stages. As you can see, our percent completes roll up to our header line. So if we were to update one of these underlying rows, that does get updated in the header there. It is based on the underlying duration and is a weighted value. We also have our predecessors. So if we updated one of these tasks at the high level here, say we changed one of these to 15 days, we see that all the subsequent tasks change dates. And over here on the right-hand side, in the Gantt, we also see that those are all connected based on those predecessors. And we also have our critical path up here, which indicates what tasks will influence our final end date. So if a task changes, that will influence our final end date. We're also tracking this against our original baseline, which we set as part of our original setup for this schedule. So we set up the schedule, we take our baseline, and then we can keep our actual start and finish dates up to date as we go through the project, through the grant, and see how far off we are from original schedule. This allows us to keep our schedule updated and accurate to where we're actually at, while also keeping track of our original schedule and how far off where we anticipated we would be at any point in time. From here, we're going to just go ahead and open up the Workspace tab. We could also hop back to the dashboard to switch between different objects, but we're just going to do it here just because it's a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. I'm going to touch quick on the grant compliance checklist. This is the checklist for basically any items that are required to be completed for the conditions of the grant to be met, right? So each grant that gets created will have conditions needed to complete it. So we add those into this sheet here and make sure that those get approved and submitted by the appropriate times to the relevant approvers. So this is just a nice, easy tracking to make sure nothing gets missed as part of the hard hard requirements of the grant. These could also be linked to the schedule if you want those as tasks in there, or just be part of the schedule itself, but we like to keep it separate to keep it nice and clear and easy. We also have, of course, a budget. So for each grant we create, we are kind of creating an initial budget. We have our overall categories here, line items. This can be as detailed as needed, with kind of generic units here and quantities, so that it can be very flexible for different kinds of grants as needed. So we're also getting our, of course, expenditure, which is coming directly from our expenditure log. So we're comparing that against our original budget. We're seeing what amount is remaining. So if we hop over to our expenditure log here, you'll see this is another kind of row-based sheet, with each expenditure being its own row. This is also associated with a form to make it nice and easy to enter new expenditure items. So we can say that this is the name, this is the description, this is the category that's being reported to. Again, that rolls up on the budget, the cost, and then you can also put in the receipt, invoice, or attachment. Currently, we're manually filling the approver, but this could also be automated based on a field in the intake or a specific individual. So then we get the receipt value. This becomes a new line in our expenditure log and goes through that approval process based on the approver that was selected. So it will wait on the approval, and then it won't show up in the budget until it's been approved. We also have one other object as part of our blueprint, and that is just the QA communication log. This keeps track of all open questions and communications regarding the grant, right? So this is for kind of any stakeholders related to the grant that have open communication needs or questions. This is just a place to keep track of it so those items don't get lost. Make sure that we respond to the individuals, the grantees that are relevant to us, and make sure that they get all the information they need regarding the grant. From here, we're going to hop up to the portfolio level where we can actually see where this is all aggregated. So we're taking all this information, we're provisioning it automatically with Control Center, following approval. Once it gets approved, it generates it. It connects everything from that intake sheet so we don't have to repeat the entry of any of it. And then we are also, with that system, connecting it up to the portfolio so we can see everything across all of our projects in one place. So here, we're looking at a portfolio dashboard with some quick links, but more importantly, some of our different metrics for our grant progress. So we have items like budget, we have budgets by grant category, we have kind of reports for an overview of our grants, as well as pending items that are awaiting approval. So this is where you can see our progress across all of our grants, kind of all of our metrics here laid out in one place, while also, of course, allowing us to drill down into individual projects like we did from the original intake to say, hey, this schedule has red health. Let's go check on that and make sure that we are taking care of everything we need to at that level. So that is a high-level overview of Optimum's Smartsheet grant management solution. Thanks for your time. Bye.